Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 8. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report that is filled to the rim with tons of news here. As always, we try to get the latest and the greatest. This time around, we actually have information from several CEOs on the platforms that we are currently involved in. We have a lot of things happening on the trading, which means that we have sent out also 2 videos this week. We're going to show you how you can become a millionaire within 1 year. And yes, there is a way to do it. And no, it's not a hoax. Obviously, it's a mathematical way of doing things, but we also going to show you where you can find more info on this. So let's get started and see exactly what all this news is about, what the CEOs got to say. And actually, the CEO, Steve, from Yieldnodes, he's got a bit to say. It has been a while since we've gotten an update. As you know, last week I went to Yieldnodes hub here and talked to Urs for a few hours, and that was very good discussions we had there. I couldn't really share much of it. So at the moment, other than I could tell you, I saw some of the work that is going on behind the scenes. It looks quite interesting. Definitely, they are still there. They are still working hard at it. And the idea here now is that in early March, Steve is going to talk to Liam, which is running the Facebook group there. And Steve and him is going to have a little chat about what is coming. Hopefully, many of the things that I saw when I was on the hub is going to be shared also there, because I think it's going to be quite interesting for a lot of parties to see what has been happening. But obviously, it's all about the profit at the end of the day. And as we know, this is now coming in quarterly. It's still the 5%. Steve most probably also going to touch on this. I do not believe that we're going to get the 5% paid out either in April. Don't forget the 5% is actually going to be credited to your March account on the Yieldnodes one. But anyway, we take the 5% any day of the week instead of sitting back and moaning over this. Hopefully at one point they will be back on track, and definitely I'm quite convinced that Urs is on the right track. I know he has a lot of different contacts that he's working with at the moment. So exciting times. Not so exciting times is basically the sales that you can go in and do. So if you don't really believe in the Yieldnodes and the Yieldnodes project anymore, you can try and sell off your investment. Now it's basically up at 75% on a discounted part. You can go all the way up to 150, so that's not really a problem. But all the other ones are still in there, and we did have a quick look just to see what was in there. It looks pretty much the same as last week. There's not really much of a difference in there. I think everybody is now done with the panicking and basically looking forward to see what is going to come out, especially now that we have announced that Steve is going to come with some updates on where exactly they are with the roadmaps and all the other things that have put out. It's going to be quiet times, I believe. So both on the Decenomy coins, which you will also see, and obviously on trying to sell your investments off. So until we can hear a bit more about what is the next part of the roadmap itself with Yieldnodes. Now, if we have a look at the SAPP and Sapphire coin, again, we have seen some people got a bit excited over it. We not so much. Obviously, on iHost MN, we are still doing the shared masternoding. And as you can see, we are roughly still around 70% return on the investment per year, which is quite okay. Our shared masternode has gone up with another couple of percent, about 2.5% in the last week. And that is obviously also great that we continue to have more coins. But the overall coin development has changed a bit for the positive, but we are still only talking about 6-7%. So it's not a major factor, and I don't think it's going to be any major changes or shifts until we see some good positive news and some facts coming out of Yieldnodes. Now the graph itself, it looks like this, and again it is a little spike, very, very small one. But overall, it's basically just business as usual as we have seen for the last many weeks. PNY definitely is still struggling. We are getting a good return on the investment also here, not as big as what we used to do. but we are looking around the 62, 64%, and I guess that's still okay when you take it into a full year. At the moment, so we're getting 6% per week, so it is down. At one point we got all the way up to 10. And if we have a look at the overall coin development, it's been another bad week. We lost another couple of percent. But overall, we're not too concerned. We know that we are getting more and more coins, and these things, they will happen again. They will shoot up, so we have no doubt about it. The graph itself looks like this, pretty much flat as a pancake, so not much to say about this one here. Birake or beer here is also going a bit up and down, as we can see. It is still in minus. Overall, the return on the investment has made a bit of a jump this week. So from 152% a year last week up to 173. So definitely going the right way. And the shared masternoding has also been okay, about 7% this week. So that is good news. But overall coin development has only improved slightly. So a couple of percent at that it. But we are still in minus overall. The graph looks like this. As we can see, a couple of weeks ago, we saw a bit of a correction. Things started to look better. But since then, a small decrease again overall. But as we said, all of these coins, we will only see some real progress once we get some real news. Real news is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has taken a bit of a breather. Last week, it jumped up, and you can see where we left it last week with the little yellow dot here on the graph itself. We ended up just above 24,000 since then. We have actually tested the 25,000 on Bitcoin, and it's been wobbling around that particular area ever since then. At the moment, it's lying around the 24,000, so 400 mark, and let's see where it's going to hit on next. Elevate Pass is another one, so where we're going to hear a bit more from hopefully the CEO very shortly. I know I promised you that for weeks and weeks to come. But so far we know that the profit for week 8 is going to be 0%. But we have a bit of news from Raphael, and this is again through the Telegram app we have in here. And he says he's going to try and share some info, probably beginning of March. Don't forget, we hoped that we were going to have something in January. So obviously this has been delayed for quite a few months, and he also just mentioned that there was some maintenance news going on with the server. It should be over now. Everybody should be able to log in again and also access the CoinFriend portal that you can still use with Elevate Pass. That has not been under any maintenance at that particular time. Moving on to Trillant here, and some very exciting news. We know that 1st of March is another date that we really want to have a look at this platform. We had the tree released back in December, so 2022, and we know that we have been going through certain steps here of actually getting a bit more money out every month from the platform. And on top of this, we should also now have the stablecoin, the tree, should be released somewhere in early March, and that's what this information and talk with the CEO is going to be very, very important. So if you are part of our membership here, also make sure that, again, you either send me an email to make sure that we connect you with the Telegram app here, so you can be in on this particular talk. It might be in German, but there will be within 24 hours translation into English also, so everybody can follow it. But otherwise, there's links within the platform, as you can see here, trillion.com/live, and you can then join in there. It's going to be very interesting to see what Eric has to say about the future here, because everything is basically moving forward. And as you will see also, the coins, the tree, they have been declining ever since they were almost launched. Only in the first couple of days we saw a nice positive spike. Since then they have been either moving sideways, or in this week it has been in decline, and we're going to have a look at the graph for that one too. Now we have shown this particular one a few times where we go through the different steps, as we said, and still for now you can only take tokens out up until $10,000. And then from 1st of March, it's going to be unlimited. And for this one, we're talking about the tree. The other one we were talking about is the Trill, so double L in here, which is the stable coin against the USD. And that is going to be quite interesting because a lot of people have saved up now for a long period of time, and I'm sure they want to take some of the profits out. And if they can do that, most probably they will again add more TRI into the platform, which then again will jump up on the coin price most probably, and we will see a change in there. But again, this is all our assumptions only. We'll have to see what happens in the real world. What do happen in the real world is, again, the $1 million raffle that started with the Trillant back in December, and it has been ongoing. It's also going on here in February, and in January it was basically a guy from Switzerland that won this particular one, and this was Porsche. And again, you can be part of this. All you have to do is go to the trillant.com/raffle. And you have to buy a TRI for $500 or more, and then you have to stake it on the long-term staking, which is the 52 weeks. And from there on, you are part of the raffle. But obviously, for all the details and information, make sure you go to the trillant.com/raffle and follow it step by step. Now, what we're talking about here is obviously the TRI packs, as you can see here, and we mention them every single week because you can both get short-term and you can get long-term gains out of this. The shortest one is the 4 weeks, where you get a yield over 4 weeks of 1.5%. So that 1.5% is basically split over the 4 weeks. And the same for the 9, the 26, and also the 52. The only change in the 52 here is basically you can stake at a higher yield when the coin goes up. And that's exactly why it will be very interesting to see what's going to happen once the Trill is going to be released, because it will take off some of the selling pressure for sure, that people don't want to sell that coin anymore. They want to hang on to it because that is the way where they can gain more yield, 50% in this particular case. So interesting times, definitely. March is, I guess, the information, so where everything could change. Now, if we have a look at the TRI coin here, we can see on xt.com, it's gone down. So we have the black marker up here in the corner, and that's where we left it last week. And now we have seen it's a further decline. We're hoping that that decline will then change. We can also see that some of the top sales here was about 16 million. So a lot of people are still selling out. It is, however, a lot less now than it has been in the past. And if we have a look at CoinStore, also here, the yellow dot is where we left it in last week. We can also see a decline here. And overall sell is only 6 million on this particular platform. But again, also coin value is down here. You can see this week there's a slight change in between the two exchanges. So just be aware of that if you want to exchange any of your coins. Going over to Solar Kingdom, and we have a new setup here for you to have a closer look at. Now, we mentioned here before that the Solar Farm 1 and 2, we're basically taking some of the money as they are being released off here, and we adding it into the Solar Kingdom. And that's why it goes a bit slow, but you can follow the progress here as with everything else that we do. So the fresh value, which is basically what you put into the platform itself, was 0.9 last week. This week it's 0.1, so it's gone up by just over 10%. The reactor value is what you have, basically what you added in, so the 0.9 BNB, plus you are also getting, in our case, about 4%, depending on how many you have joining Solar Kingdom at the moment, but this is a 4% daily gain. And you can then basically go in and do a rebuy several times a day. So the reactor value for this is up by almost half a BNB, so that is great news. Allowance is the amount that you can actually take out of the platform again, and that is normally ×3 of what you put in. So again, referring back to the fresh value. And last week it was 0.9 ×3, so 2.7 BNB. Allowance is 3. So what we can take out now is 0.3 more than we could last week. Total harvested, which is basically what we're going to take out of the platform. We haven't taken anything out yet. We are not planning on doing that right now. We're just going to let this one slowly grow. What has not grown is actually BNB. It has done exactly the same way as Bitcoin, trading sideways most of the time. You can see where we left it last week on the yellow dot, and this week we are slightly below, so very similar to the Bitcoin that you saw earlier. But still, we are at $312 for BNB, which is definitely not bad. And if you are in on some of these platforms that provide you again with BNB back, it's definitely a good time to go in and sell a bit off. Now we also have the money tree EA, and for this particular week, obviously very, very disappointing. So basically zero, and that means we have no losses, we have no gains, and basically we had no trades. And that actually encouraged us to figure out what on earth was going on here. And the next thing that happened is that we saw the money tree burning, and we had to do a video about all this. Now, a lot of people have seen this one already, and then asking us also what happened to our money tree and our test. And I can tell you that also that this video will show we are still okay. We have different settings, but there's definitely something happening on the developer side. And I think they got caught out a bit on their own EA, and that is what this video is all about. A lot of people find this very interesting because it shows exactly how some people can have great experiences with EAs and robots, where other people have crashes and losing money. So it's very important to have a look at this video here to understand how this particular EA trades. And on top of this, we also just went in to have a chat with the developers of this EA, just to hear exactly what happened. And the company here is LeapFX. And I asked them again here, so what exactly happened? So was this part of the news? And they said, well, the issue was the NFP caused the market to move crazy abnormal in one direction, which is very rare. And if you don't know what the NFP is, then it's non-farm payroll, and basically it had a big impact. And unfortunately, the trades went against it in here. And obviously also for us, we had the same trades. They were set at the same time, but we had different lot sizes and other parameters in here compared to developers. And that's why we had two different outcomes of it. Now, if you're interested in this EA, or you simply just want to follow it for now, we have only traded this for 4 weeks anyway, so it's too early to tell if this is actually working long-term or not. But on the web page itself, you will find two links, and one is for Blaze Broker and another one is for IG Broker. We are trading this EA on both of them and comparing them, and we will obviously do more analytic stuff as we get more trades in. More trades is also happening with the Profit Retriever. Obviously, this is the flagship, so from all our trading. And this particular week was also doing quite well. So right up until Tuesday/Wednesday here, all of a sudden we saw some very strange things happening. We saw some losses on some accounts. And we are aware that this can happen from time to time because of the brokers and because of the fast pace sometimes of moving the trades itself. Normally it takes, it happens every 2 or 3 months for one or two currencies as it is maximum. But this time around we saw some really crazy stuff, and the picture as you see here is basically the CAD Swiss francs, where we normally have a big jump, and this happens over the weekend, where we call it the weekend gap, where we're finishing off on Fridays, and then when things start up again on Monday, there can be a bit of a gap. That gap in 80% of the cases will normally close again, and it's no big deal. This time around, it looks like the broker itself seems to have done a fast rewind and review here, where the robot got to set multiple trades, which is normally not what happens on after the weekend. And in this particular case, we have a feeling that it has something to do also with Monday being a day off for the US traders. And definitely something very strange that we haven't seen before. We raised this also with Alex, and he seemed to come to the same conclusions as we did, that this has nothing to do with the settings itself of the EA, nothing to do with the robot itself. It seems to be some brokers, depending on when they're opening, when they're closing, But normally you wouldn't have these very quick transactions on basically almost one line here. You would just have a drop, and all that would happen was that the EA would set a new trade, a new buy or new sell. Same thing here on the US CAT also. All of these, when you look at the graph itself, it looks like they are positive, but at the end of the day, they are not. Yeah, and in those particular cases here, we lost a bit of money. It was less than 100 euros on both the accounts here. But we have seen other times where we are really gaining a lot out of this. And one of the biggest ones we had was actually on a live account of ours, where we made, instead of about $20, where it was actually in a drawdown. And then this particular part happened, and we ended up cashing in almost 1,000 euros. So with a very short period of time. So it can go with you, but this time around it went against us. And that is also why you can see a little dip in our portfolio overall. We had 5 or 6 accounts, and this is very unusual that you can have that with any broker where these spikes are happening. But welcome to Forex. This is the first time in the entire year that we have been trading the profit retriever that we've ever seen this. Now, it's not a big deal. Obviously, yes, there's several thousand involved in our portfolio here. But we have already gained a lot of the money back since then. Last week, we were around 17,400, I believe, on the net profit for February. You can see now we are already back up to 18,300. So it's only a small little dip, but obviously it's quite annoying on this very, very nice graph. And that is the reason, again, why we always tell you and explain to you, you have to trade things in a portfolio. So where some things are failing or somebody has a drawdown, so on some of the accounts, the other ones will continue to cash in, and that's how you get these smooth curves. Now, last week was good also for the profit retriever, and we saw some high jumpers this time around, and more than 10%. As you can see, the Aussie Japanese did extremely well with more than $2,000. 21.1% is absolutely massive just for the week. The US 30 continues to do extremely well also. We really like this one, and we know that not too many is actually using that signal for some reason. Maybe again because they have issues on the cent accounts, so with their brokers. But it made 13.6%, so another very good week for the US 30. Aussie USD on our second setting here also did extremely well, 11.5%. And then the Aussie 200 came in at 8%. Aussie 200 index was one of the ones that was also affected by these spikes. So that was definitely not a good one. And British pounds Japanese has also come in at 6.7%. So overall, just the top 5 here made more than $6,000 in just a week, or 12.2%. So very, very happy with this. And obviously you can find a lot more information on the profit retriever on our website. And if you think that this is too difficult, we know that it is, or time consuming also for that matter, to find the right settings, the right way of trading. You can be on the same link here with the copy link trading, where you can link up to our signals and other traders in there, and they can trade for you. And Alex has more about that, and we're going to show you that in also a minute. So please go and have a look at our website and get some more information on how you can actually trade this particular robot. And that's what, again, Alex is also talking about this week. The links that you can basically go in and have a look at. He has updated a couple of things in there. One of the things is that you can now see how many live account every single trader has set up for this, which is obviously giving you a bit of an idea of what is happening. But we have also made some videos this week that will show you exactly how this is being done and how you can actually benefit even from some of the signals that are maybe only providing 5 or 10%, and that is this video that you just see here. So that is also a new one. The links will be in the description below, so you can go and have a look there too. And the second one is 2 ways of making a million from the robot trading. And again, we are talking about the copy link service here. And Alex is explaining and has a little Excel in there that shows you how exactly You can start either with $1,000, and that's going to take you about 70 something months, or if you start with around 10,000, you can actually make it within 1 year, and that is obviously quite interesting. It is again math, because trading is a bit more unpredictable, but he's definitely not too far off. If you do what he says in this particular video here, there's definitely a good chance that you will be on the right track to become a millionaire. On top of this, we also made the spaghetti beta test, and that is now some weeks ago. We have asked Alex when is the release date, because the release date was first set on the 22nd of February. And he came back to me and told me, well, it's going to be another couple of weeks. He ran into some other issues and things that he needed to do first. So maybe we should rely on first or second week here of March to also have this one, and we are looking forward to trading a bit more with it. We didn't feel we had enough time to beta test this particular one, because some of the testing takes quite a long time, and only having a week or 10 days to go through all this is simply not enough to evaluate any EA. And that's what we had for you in this week's news report. We hope you enjoyed the news as always. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and we will also like to hear back from you, of course, what you think of the news every single week. So I hope to see you on next week's news report, or maybe one of the other videos we're going to make in the next week. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.